Okay. Okay. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay.
In every season of growth, there comes a point where talent isn't enough, motivation isn't enough, and opportunities alone aren't enough. What separates those who rise from those who stall is the quiet and steady discipline to keep showing up, and few people embody this discipline more powerfully. We are delighted to welcome Joan Ologundudu as a visiting mentor for the Growth Mentorship Program 2026 cohort. Joan is a perspective engineer and a behavioral scientist specializing in leadership, individual and family life development, powered by technology and artificial intelligence. As a coach, counselor, and creative, she equips people across borders to gain clarity, heal deeply, and live purpose driven lives. Her passion is rooted in delivering timely truth for timely intervention. She is the founder and director of the Lifesaver Intervention Initiative, a leadership and development platform that has impacted more than 5,000 people across Kogi, Plateau, Oyo, Lagos, and Ogun states, empowering them with essential life skills and entrepreneurial training. Joan is also a certified facilitator of the John C. Maxwell Beyond Success Training with Equip Nigeria. Her thriving online community, comprising over 1,000 members, offers support and insight in family life, global opportunities, scholarships, and career growth. Her free leadership courses have certified participants from Nigeria, Tanzania, and Malawi. Her N-Powered initiative offers free training that helps individuals harness AI tools to increase their earning potential, reaching learners in over 13 countries, including the UAE, Pakistan, and Kenya. A visionary in the tech space, Joan is the founder of lmaf.co, Nigeria's foremost family life tech platform. She leverages innovative digital solutions to empower experts, coaches, leaders, and organizations. She also leads the Christian Singles Community, a global network where she teaches relationship intelligence to singles across the Nigeria, the UK, Canada, and Rwanda. As a founder and lead coach at 7D Smart Plug, Joan uses hands-on tools to help individuals fulfill their goals. She has previously served as the Director of People and Culture at the UNSESN Nigeria Network and is an award-winning SDG advocate and project lead. Joan holds a BSc in Sociology from Kogi State University and MSc in Sociology from the University of Ibadan. She is a published author with several books available on Sila and Amazon. She also serves as the Vice President of the City Chamber, a community of graduates from the School of Kingdom Business. Joan is happily married to Abraham Ologundudu, a designer and multimedia producer. For the GMP 2026 cohort, Joan will mentor our students on the power of consistency, how to keep going against all odds, a transformative session designed to equip participants with the resilience, focus, and habits required to grow regardless of the challenges they face. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and reality, and your journey starts now. Visit our website today at https://nickhub.org/programs/GMP 2026 to register for the Growth Mentorship Program 2026 cohort. Learn from exceptional leaders like Joan and Anuoluwapo and take your next bold step towards a lasting transformation.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a clapping ovation, let's welcome our mentor for tonight, Joan Anuoluwapo Ologundudu. I cannot see your claps. I can't see your clapping. You're not clapping, guys. Or should we tell her to come back tomorrow? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mrs. Joan Ologundudu, you're welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Please, can you hear me? Can you let me know if you can hear me in the comments?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
ma, we can. We can hear you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. And I want to congratulate all of you for being on this platform because the value you're actually getting here is so much. And the good thing is that Nick is doing this for free. And I really want to celebrate him. He's been my friend and brother from way back. And I want to say thank you, Nicholas, for this wonderful vision. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for being a great and amazing friend. Please let me celebrate Nick. Yes, help me celebrate him for putting this together, the team and everything.
Thank you so much, Joan. Thank you for doing this. And guys, disclaimer, Joan is a recent mother. And oh my God, I didn't even know that I didn't even know that I wouldn't have disturbed that, yet she had to come here tonight. Thank you so much, Joan, for doing this. I'm deeply grateful. And
My
congratulations, by the way.
pleasure.
Guys, let's congratulate her.
Thank you. Yes, that's true. I'm a nursing mother. Don't mind me. I think I find it difficult to actually say no to anything that I believe will serve people, especially when it comes down to public speaking or any area of my expertise, unless the Holy Spirit is the one actively telling me to say no. It's actually difficult for me because one of my personal value is to serve, and I'm glad to be here despite, nursing a newborn baby. Okay, so I think we'll just get right to it. Yeah. Yeah, she's saying hello to us here. Okay, I'm seeing the comments. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think the admin promised to help me share the slide. I don't know if that information was delivered. Yeah, she's saying hello.
Yeah,
Give
yes,
us a few
yes,
minutes.
so I'll be sharing the slides from here, if that's okay.
Okay. So we can get started. We are going to be talking about the power of consistency. And I particularly love this topic because I have been tested by the principles I'm going to be sharing today. And I can tell you that consistency pays. Consistency in the right thing actually pays. And today's session is not going to be about me talking and talking and talking because that is actually not my style. I always love to engage people because I believe that is a better way of teaching people, and that is a way whatever we will be talking about today will last for long. So Yeah, we are talking about the power of consistency. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah, so get ready. I normally advise people to get their notepads and pen, but if you don't have that, maybe if you have Google Docs, so you can actually write down some things, and they are mostly questions, right, that you may want to go back, sit with, and reflect on them. Then when you find the answers, they will actually do you good. Okay, my profile has been read before, but this is me. I'm a counseling therapist. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called Lifesaver Intervention Initiative, and I'm the founder and pioneer of Family Life Technology. So that's the tripartite version of me. Yes, so please, the next slide. I think we are getting started now. Please, let's remember that this is going to be very interactive because I want whatever we are talking about today to stay with us. So this will be more interactive than me just preaching. So what does consistency mean to you? Anyone that wants to talk, you can unmute your mic and share, or you can raise your hands, maybe signify with a raise of hand. I can call on you to unmute and share. What does consistency mean to you? What does it mean? Anyone wants to share? Be bold, feel free. Or should I call our names? Okay, I saw Lola. Okay, Lola Olabi, please go ahead. You can unmute and share.
Okay, good evening, ma. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Actually, consistency means showing up daily. Showing up, just like simply when we, if we should like simplify it, it means showing up no matter what. Just keep on showing up. Yes, that's what I believe consistency is.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Lola. Thank you for your answer. Okay. Please, I'd rather you unmute your mic and share. Yeah. Okay. Gifts. Can you unmute and share?
Okay, good evening, ma. To me,
Hi, good.
thank you, ma. To me, I would say consistency, just like La said, it means showing up. And what I want to add is it's not necessarily, I would say not every day, but I think um it requires dedication, and it doesn't need it to be like, okay, at a stretch it has to be more like, no, I think bit by bit, then it works out, like it yield positive results. Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you for your answer. Okay. Anuoluwapo says consistency goes along with repetitive actions. Okay. Thank you, Anuoluwapo. Who else wants to share? Okay, Emmanuel Ita says consistency to me means going back after 10 years to see the same teacher that taught me during my primary school session, still teaching. Oh, I think that is consistency. Amazing. Thank you, Emmanuel, for your perspective. Okay, Augustine, you can unmute and share. Augustine? Okay, or were you just okay. Okay. Isaac Khalifa says consistency means actively showing up. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, consistency means doing something regularly and steadily, even when you don't feel like.
Word.
Hello?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I say consistency means doing something regularly and steadily, even when you don't feel like.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. I can see more comments here. Babatunde says consistency is when you're dedicated to doing something. Okay, thank you, Babatunde. Jones Solomon says consistency means focus until you see results. Okay, thank you. Somebody says it's about showing up and doing your thing over and over, even when it's tough. Okay. Another person says consistency is doing something over and over again. Okay. Consistency means sticking to a routine and showing up at it regardless of the way you feel. Consistency means showing up irrespective of how you're feeling. Consistency, okay, continuity despite all odds, irrespective of your feeling as at that point in time. Okay. Consistency is about showing up same way over and over again, especially when it's not convenient, exciting, or easy. Okay. It's also about discipline, emotion, quite steady, and incredibly powerful. Okay. Consistency is progressive repetition. Consistency is simply repetition of action. Consistency means continuous commitment toward what you are aiming to achieve. Consistency is being steady and doing the same thing way over time. Okay, it's intentional continuity. Amazing. Thank you so much for all of your submissions, everything you've all said. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Let's move to the next slide. So I want us to now, this time I want you to be able to unmute your mic and share, right? Share your experience of areas you have stayed consistent. So we've all talked about consistency, and I agree with all of our perspectives and the different, submissions we've put down. So I want us to share experiences, like actual experiences. So I know that somebody shared about his teacher, going back to primary school, or was it secondary school, and then you found out that your teacher is still there teaching, for over 10 years. That's consistency. So, but I want us to share our own personal experience. Now we are going somewhere. So please stay with me. This is important. So who wants to unmute their mic? You can raise your hands and I'll call on you to mute and share. Think about it. A personal experience of something you stayed consistent at. You do ma, okay, Lola Olabi, please unmute and share.
Okay, I would say recently, I started being consistent in my posting on LinkedIn. I I was like, when I first joined LinkedIn though, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know. I just thought it was just for professional, thing, and me working towards my career goals and growth. I learned that I need to be visible. I need to bring myself out. So it wasn't like easy for me because basically I'm in my family house and I have other things I needed to do, like personally. And but the fact that day one I posted, although I got 0 likes, day two I posted, day three I continued. It got to a point, and I was not just continuing in like one direction. If this direction is not working, I observe, I engage, you know, I engage, comment, we share, we post, then look for different strategy for my own post to also be reached. So I kept on pushing till one day I just got like almost 100 plus like, and I'm like, what, on LinkedIn? So I felt like consistency is the goal. Even if I'm not yet perfect yet, I'm still growing. I'm still like trying to put myself out there because I have a goal. So like being consistent was one of my on LinkedIn was one of my experience. Although I have other aspect of my life, so that I showed consistency. But this LinkedIn on is the one that really baffles me. Yes, ma'am.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. Like, that is such a big one because there are several principles from what you share.
Hello,
If
ma,
you
are you
were
still
paying
there?
attention, yes, yes, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay,
I can hear you, ma.
okay. So I said that was a very great one because the average person can relate to that. You know how LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is not exactly a very it's not the platform for people to go viral, as it were. There are more viral people on maybe TikTok, Instagram, maybe Twitter, but LinkedIn not so. So what you did was quite impressive. So thank you and well done. Thank you so much for staying consistent with LinkedIn, and please don't get discouraged as you keep doing it. Thank
I
you.
Thank
won't.
you.
Thank you, ma. Yes, ma.
Okay, so who else wants to share? Okay, Gift, please unmute and share.
Okay, my experience was when I started learning graphic design. I'm a graphic designer, so it wasn't actually easy. There were so what my um coach did back then was that she kind of bombarded us with a 30 days assignment, which in each assignment we have like 3 or 4 in each day rather we have like 3 or 4 assignments to do, and it was consuming, it was exhausting because I have work to do. I was working at the same time I was studying, and also there is this graphic design there. So I tried as much as possible to show up for it. And while I finished that, I think I was the first person to complete my task within the period stipulated time. And while at that, I realized I knew nothing actually when I started, but I realized that as I was practicing those things, doing, putting, placing my hands on those assignments and doing them, I became very good at it. And even while I finished, I still do not stop. I keep practicing. And I think few weeks ago rather, someone just tested me and was like, your graphic these days are exceptional. Like it looks different from the previous ones. I was like, okay. So that's my own experience.
Wow, that's actually good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. That's a great one. So yours is not LinkedIn. Yours has to do with your work, which is graphic design, like your training as a graphic designer. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Queen Gift. Okay, Augustina, over to you. Let's hear from you. Or Augustine, rather. Augustine, you can unmute and share. Okay. Maybe Augustine is not here. Daniela, please share. I don't want to pronounce your other name, so I don't mother it. Daniela,
Good
please
evening,
unmute.
Ma.
Good evening.
Okay, so where I experienced consistency was in evangelism. Like I and my friend, we usually go every weekend for evangelism, but sometimes I'm afraid to go to talk to people. Sometimes I don't even feel like going, but I still have to go either way. Even sometimes to get rejected, that kind of thing. So I'm afraid to go sometimes, but still I still keep on going no matter what it is. So that's how I have experienced consistency.
I actually love this one. Thank you for sharing. That's a very, very big one. Thank you for bringing that perspective into this. And really, it takes consistency to be able to preach the gospel, especially in the way you mentioned it, because of course there are different ways we can preach the gospel, but the verbalizing of the gospel is also part of it. I know there's this gospel where people are like, oh, you don't have to say anything, just by your lifestyle, people can give their life to Christ. Well, that is one way, but there's definitely the aspect of you opening your mouth to actually tell people about the love of Jesus Christ. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience. Let me see. Okay, we have Doris, please can you unmute and share? Yeah, Doris, over to you. Yeah, please share. Sorry, Doris, sorry, I can barely hear you. Can you move closer to your mic?
Okay, sorry, can you hear me now?
Okay, it's better.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, my network is unstable. That's why. But can
Okay,
you
so
hear me
sorry. A bit better.
now? Okay. So I've come to truly understand the power of consistency through my own journey. Although it hasn't been loud or celebrated, but it has been quite steady. And I have tried being consistent in showing up for work and also my side hustle, which is what's over. And there are days I actually feel drained, but at the same time, I've remained committed. I've remained committed to my growth, the learning and unlearning part, and also pushing myself harder, smarter as well to do better and be better. Yes. And I have also been consistent in loving and supporting the people around me.
Hmm.
even when even when um it wasn't always reciprocated, but life happens. Yes, and
Hmm.
there are moments and times that I I wanted to give up, but I questioned myself. Agusi Doris, calm down. But at the same time, I kept going, not perfectly, but the journey has been good. So for me, consistency has been about choosing to move forward again and again, no matter how I feel. And me looking back, I'm super proud of the areas where I did not quit.
Hmm.
At the same time, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely not where I used to be. And that's what consistency has done for me. Thank you, Mark.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Oluwatobiloba. Oh, so sorry about that. I did not see it. You can go ahead to share.
All right, good evening, Ma. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So for me, where I experienced or I stayed consistent is praying and reading of the Word of God. I think last year it was kind of fluctuating, and I actually wanted to be very intentional. So I took some measures, and one of the measures I took was that I know that I might be having a very busy day. I go to school in the morning, come back in the evening, from there to fellowship, going home tired, and still I have to pray, do some other things. So for every 3 hours, I have an alarm that I set to every 9, 12, 3, 6, like all around the clock. So anytime the alarm rings, it brings a consciousness for me to I just pray, I just declare words, I also have an audio Bible I listen to. So even while I'm busy during the day, I'm listening to the audio Bible. At the slightest moment I have, I take it to pray, I take it to study the word. So it has really helped me to stay consistent, man.
Hmm. Amazing. Thank you so much, Oluwatobiloba. That's quite a difficult one. Because apart from the fact that we have to contend with the physical aspects of our life where you have other things that want your attention, you also have the spiritual side to contend with where the enemy doesn't want you to pray. Because the enemy knows that when you pray is in trouble. So thank you for staying consistent with your prayer life. And thank you for sharing. Okay, Bidemi, you can unmute and share. So for this one, Bidemi is the last for this, but the next slide will also require us sharing as well. So just stay with me. All right, Bidemi, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So, where I experience consistency, um, I'm a fiction writer, a Christian romance fiction writer. So I started in 2020. I started with writing with, yes, actually, writing with book and pen. Then I moved to typing my books online. Then, even though it was not, I had a lot of challenges along the line, but today I have a small team that I manage to make sure that my books come out every year. So that consistency, even though there were times in terms of obstacles like not having money to produce the kind of quality of books I want and stuff like that. But to me, that's pushing
Mm.
when everything is not convenient. Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, please go on, go on. Finish your thought.
I'm done, Ma. I don't know if you heard what I said.
Bidemi, are you there? Okay, maybe network, but I cannot hear Bidemi again.
Oh, Ma.
Okay.
Okay, so
I think she's
I
done.
was.
Okay, you're done.
Can
Okay,
you
okay.
hear
Thank
me?
you. I can hear you now, but I was not hearing you some minutes ago. So thank you. So we are going to move to the next slide, and I want to appreciate every one of you who have shared your experiences with regards to areas where you stayed consistent. So in our next slide now, I want us to now share areas where we know we've not been consistent. Yeah, that's the next slide now. Please, can you help us move to the next slide, please? So now it takes critical thinking and self-awareness to know that, okay, in a particular area or in a particular aspect of your life, you have not been consistent. So if you are that person where you actually know that, okay, in this area, in this aspect, I have not been consistent, maybe you started something, you stopped, just like we've been doing, just raise your hands and I'll call you and you'd share. So don't be shy. Don't worry. For every one of us, including the person talking, we've all experienced times where we've not been consistent. So there is nothing to be ashamed about. It only shows that you're self-aware. If anybody tells you they've been consistent in everything all the days of their lives, they are actually lying. So there is nothing to be shy about. Mm. Okay, Daniela, please unmute and share.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I'm learning Chinese on Duolingo and I've not been consistent with it recently because of my schedule. But I'm just off and on. So that's something I'm not consistent about. Like every day. I'm not learning it every day. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I didn't really get what you're saying, but I think I have an idea of what you said. We're like something around everyday life, right?
Yes, ma. Yes. Like
Okay.
I'm learning Chinese on Duolingo, but like I don't do it consistently
Okay,
anymore.
China.
Not like before.
Okay, okay. I got you. I get you now, rather. Thank you, thank you. That's a big one, though. I respect you, Daniela. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being true to yourself and, sharing this. Thank you. So who wants to share again? Okay, Daniel Ojoma says he's learning Chinese too. Okay, so you see, this is why this session is actually important. Daniel is actually offering to be your consistency buddy. So please connect with Daniela. What are the odds? Daniel and Daniela. Amazing. Something is happening here. Daniel and Daniela. Okay, oh. Please try ensure that it's just consistency body, Sha. Okay. Gifts, Queen Gifts. You want to speak? Please feel free to unmute and share.
Okay. So if there is one area I've not been consistent lately, I think is reading the scripture. And I actually don't know because most times I'm done with the tasks for the day here and there, if I just carry the scripture like this, I've Mozilla like I'll just and while reading the scripture, it demands full attention to be able to understand because the Bible itself requires revelation from God while reading it because Bible is hard to understand. Let me put it that way. But these days, and I think last year I was being consistent, and I had a lot of revelation. And sometimes when I read the Bible, I was like, "Is this thing inside this book?" And I've not found it since. And I know if there's one thing the devil deceives us with is not allowing us to say the scripture. So, but this year, a lot of things are just on my table, and I've not been consistent even while I pray. I know that prayer without action is nothing. So I'm just praying for God to help me still. So that's one of the areas I've not been consistent.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Nifemi wants to share. Nifemi, please unmute and share.
Okay, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Okay, Nifemi, I cannot hear you. Okay, Usman,
Good
Samuel,
evening. Good evening.
Usman. Okay. Okay, go on, Nifemi.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so part that I've been very, very inconsistent. Well, I have an exam coming by April, and I've been struggling with reading, not just because I've not been consistent, but also because it's a very, very difficult topic to read and understand. But I've been trying my best. But then I started slacking like a lot, and I barely read every day. I'm supposed to like read every day to pass the exam, but then I'm just like shifting focus, and most of the time when I carry my book to read, I just end up sleeping, and it has been really, really hard. And the first time I saw the topic of today, I was so happy. Honestly, I was really, really happy because I'll finally at least learn something about consistency because it has really, really bothering me a lot. People are complaining that I've been very, very inconsistent in everything, and then I have problem with my timing. So, but I guess that this is really going to help me. And yeah, that's my.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, I think we'll just just winner. We'll stop at winner so that we can move on to the next slide where I will now share some principles with you guys. Okay, Samuel, I see you. I tried 50 push-ups every day. It started well, but right now I can't do 10. Oh, so sorry. Sorry. Okay, Babatunde says, I made up my mind to start reading books, motivational and spiritual books, but I haven't been consistent with it. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Manuel Ita says, I had started learning French at the beginning of the year. Okay. For this month, I have not been consistent with my lesson on Duolingo. I had used my exams as an excuse, but I also noticed I have still not been consistent with it even after the exams. Oh, sorry. Waking up around 4 a.m. every day to read 20 books of any book I choose to read, but it's been difficult to stay consistent. Sorry, Acheneje. I hope I pronounced that well. Manasseh. Okay, I think I can pronounce that one well. Okay. Okay. I think the next person is Malachi. Please, apologies if I did not pronounce that well. Malachi or Malachi. Please, can you unmute and share? Then after him, winner, you share, then we'll move to the next slide. Manachi, please, if I didn't pronounce that well, I'm sorry. Or if Manachi is not here, winner, please unmute and share.
Hey, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so for me, it's actually this course. I'm taking a course on data analytics. Though initially I started very well, I was really consistent with it, but then I had to come to school for clearances and all. So every time I'm back home from walking up and down in school, I come back really exhausted and tired, and I just sleep off instead of actually going to do the course. Also, now I'm done with my clearance, but getting back to being consistent like I used to be, like initially, is kind of difficult now because I was inconsistent for too long.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Nina. Thank you. Okay. Letura says, I haven't been consistent with the GMP program. I try my best, really. Uh-oh. Sorry, Letura. Osun Tayo Mary says, I haven't been consistent with my voice training. Even when I set the time for it, I don't follow through. Okay. Thank you for being vulnerable. You know, what I just did now looks simple, but what I've done now is to force your brain to think. So while this is looking like GMP session, what we've also done is a mental activity. This has forced you to actually think through areas where you've been consistent and areas where you have not been consistent. So for some persons that did not even unmute their mic to speak, no matter what, if you were listening and if you've been a part of this conversation, something has resonated with you mentally. And that is areas where you've been consistent and areas where you have not been consistent. And if you remembered when I was starting this conversation, I told us to get a notepad and a pen or have a digital page open on your phone or maybe laptop, whatever you're joining with, and write questions down that you can go and reflect on later. And I believe you're all smart people here, so I believe you should have written it down. What are the areas that have been consistent? Put that question there. The next question should be, what are the areas where I have not been consistent? So please, let's move to the next slide. We're going to move to the next slide now. So what we've done is actually something that is a mental activity that has helped you, whether you are conscious of it or not, because something has been registered in your subconscious mind. So now, what is consistency? I'm going to give you consistency according to me, according to Joan and Anuoluwapo. Consistency is the required or continuous effort or attention channeled toward a goal or an outcome. So consistency has to be something that is required, and it has to be continuous, and it has to be toward a goal or an outcome that you desire. So this is my own definition. It is not AI generated. Yeah, so, and it resonates with most, if not all, of the definitions you guys gave us at the beginning of the session. So please, let's move to the next slide. where I'll be giving us principles of consistency, and we'll be using a self-reflective. This self-reflective is my original work. If you ever have to quote it anywhere, make sure you reference me, because it's not from AI, it's not from any book or anywhere. This is an original framework that I created. So if you ever have to use it, ensure to make reference to me, because it is my original work. So now, you've all talked about the areas where you've been consistent, but we've also talked about areas where we have not been consistent. So I'm going to be sharing principles that will help you self-reflect. Why is it that there are areas where you've been consistent? Why is it that there are areas where you've not been consistent? Most likely, as we go on in this conversation, you'll be able to answer that question for yourself. The first thing is, who are you? In other words, you need to have a sense of identity. You need to have a self-belief that guides you. So for example, if you see a person who maybe wants to study medicine, and gain the admission to study medicine, do you know that most likely nobody would need to wake them up in the morning to actually go to class, because that medicine was something they wanted to study. Now, this addresses perspective, how you see your values, because that person, has placed value on the medical field. That person has placed priority. That person sees medicine as something they really want to do with their lives. In other words, it is communicating that they value medicine. So once they got the admission to study medicine, they didn't need anybody to really wake them up. They woke up and they went to class. But if you've seen some other person that maybe wanted to study medicine and they gave the person mass communication, there is just a way the person's attitude around the mass communication might be, simply because that is not really what they wanted, right? Now, let me bring it down a bit. Maybe there's somebody you actually like, right? If you like a person, I'm talking from the place of romance now, maybe, okay, I want to believe that everybody on this call is 18 years old upwards. But I'm not saying you should now start dating somebody while you're 18. No, I don't believe in it. I believe you should be through with school before you start thinking of marriage. And that is what I did. I was out of the university before I got into my first relationship. Although that is not a rule, but that is my opinion. Now, if you like a person, many times you don't really need anybody to cajole you to want to be around them, to want to do nice things for them, to go out of your way to help them. But at the same time, you might experience somebody that likes you, but you don't like them. You will notice that naturally, you don't feel like doing anything for that person. Even if the person likes you, they're always coming around you. Maybe they want to be your friend, they want to talk to you, but you don't just, in fact, for some persons, it might even be a bit irritating, because you don't just want to be around that person. But the person you like, maybe even a friend, you naturally want to be around that person. If the person says, well, I want to call you, you are excited to pick their call. But if the person that is annoying you wants to call you, you don't want to pick the person's call. In fact, the person may not even have your number. In some cases, maybe you'd even block the person. So I'm using all of these examples to explain your values, your perspective, and your identity, which all boils down to who you are. So you need to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, it will affect the areas where you can be consistent in and inconsistent in. Just like, if a person, how do I say this without how do I say it without it being condescending? Okay, so if you've been used to eating, maybe when you are being served food, they serve, as in your house, you always have chicken, you have egg, you have large proteins in your meal, right? And then you go somewhere and then they give you bland food, no protein, no egg, no chicken, no meat, nothing, nothing. At the back of your mind, you will not really appreciate what that person did, because you have a sense of identity that in your own house, you eat better than this. So whatever they are giving you, if they are now giving you rice that does not have meat or anything, the value you will place on it will not be as much. I don't know if these examples actually eating the meal, but just stay with me. But the point is that there is a level of awareness you will have about yourself that will make you react to certain things in a different way from the way you react to another thing. So many times, if you are not consistent in an area, could it be that that area does not align with who you are, with the vision of where you see yourself in the next maybe 10, 20, or 30 years? Because if you find out that there is something you really want to do, there is something you really want to associate yourself with, there is something that you see yourself continuing to do, you may not really need anybody to cajole you. On your own, you're self-motivated because it is something you want to do. There is nobody that needs to motivate a person to be present on their wedding day. I mean, you propose to this person, you're in a relationship with this person for maybe months or even years. On that wedding day, you will wake up, you will dress up, you'll be there. You will not need anybody to come and cajole you to be consistent in showing up on your wedding day because it's an important day for you. Or maybe you have to travel out of the country. You have an important appointment. Maybe you get to see the most prestigious person, maybe the president of Nigeria, or maybe a role model you look up to, maybe Fela Durotoye, maybe Ibukun Oshika. You have an appointment with them. You don't need anybody to come and cajole you because there is a level of value that you've placed on meeting them that aligns with your perspective, that aligns with your value, or adds to your belief about yourself. Now, let me not flog that too much. Let's go to the next thing. What do you see? Your vision. In other words, you will be consistent in an area that aligns with your vision. Many times, if you are not a visionary, if that thing you're trying to do does not align with maybe your overall goal, your long-term goal, you may not be consistent in that thing. For example, some of us that I'm not casting you, please do not feel like I'm casting you with what I'm about to say, but I just want you to learn the principle from it. Now, some of us have been struggling with maybe the French classes. Imagine if they told you that, okay, let's say your personal goal for this year is to start earning in dollars. And then you see a job opportunity on LinkedIn that says they will give you the job in 3 months' time and you'll be earning in dollars, but you need to know how to speak French. Do you know that naturally you will be more consistent because already at the beginning of the year, you set a goal that you want to start earning in dollars. So there is already a desire, there's already a value in that direction. You've placed value on it because your goal for the year was to earn dollars. And now 3 months, let's say 1 month down the line, you saw a job opportunity that is saying, okay, in another 3 months, you're going to be recruiting people, and those that know to speak French, they're going to prioritize them. Naturally, did you know that you will not need much motivation? You will naturally be more consistent because you know what getting that job will do to your bank account. Vision. So what do you see? So many times, the reason why we are not consistent in something is because there is no vision for that thing. There is no end goal. There is nothing to look forward to. So as I'm talking to you right now, like I said I have a non-profit, right? And in that non-profit, we are currently doing something called Leading for a Change program. It's a leadership certification course. It is free, but we've closed the application. Applications have closed, but of course, we'll still do it again. So just in case you're interested, you can watch out for that. Now, in the community, when the admin shared that people should introduce themselves, only one person responded for a long time. So when I saw that, I told the admin that I'm going to give that person 30K voucher. So when the admin now posted on the group that this person that was the first and only person that have responded since maybe morning or afternoon is going to get a 30K voucher, every other person now started talking on the group. They now started responding. Now that is actually wrong. You should not do things because of money, but obviously those people were motivated when they saw that somebody got a gift of 30K voucher. And so every other person started, to share their own, I mean, to introduce themselves, because that was what the admin asked the group to do, to introduce themselves, but they were not responding until they saw that the first person that responded, I gave the person. So many times, many times, perhaps maybe you are trying to do something that you have not discerned the reward that would come from doing that thing. And I'll advise us, I'll say this on the side, don't allow money to be your motivation for doing things, because not get monetary value. In fact, you may not get monetary reward. In fact, my non-profit that I've been running for the past 12 years, I've not taken a salary from it till now. 12 years. And if you see the things we've done so many things, but I've never been paid. I've never been able to say, okay, I want to take this amount and say I'm paying myself as a salary. It has been a selfless service. But I know the fulfillment that comes from doing that for me. That is the vision. That is what keeps me consistent. Not because I'm earning anything from it. I'm not making money from it because it's a non-profit. So make sure that your motivation goes beyond money in life, because if money is your sole motivator, you will go into error, because money is a terrible leader. Money is a terrible leader. You should not allow money to be the reason why you say yes or say no, because many times it is a trap. Mammon, and mammon is a spirit. Thank God we have believers here. Mammon is a spirit. If you bow to it, you will be a slave to it for life, and it can derail you from the path of purpose. So please make sure that whatever you are doing is not solely because of money, right? Ensure that that is the direction that God wants you to follow. So, but let's come back to what we are talking about. So many times, the reason why you are inconsistent is because you've not played the vision of the reward of what you will get when you stay consistent. So, for example, if you play the reward of how it will be when you finish that 50 push-up every day, you imagine the healthy version of you that it will produce, right? You think about all these, the sicknesses and diseases that is related to, not being healthy, especially if you're a remote worker where um you don't get to leave your house. There are certain health challenges that come with staying in the house 247, unless you actually have a system to ensure that you are not always sitting down, you're actually walking, you're exercising, you're moving around, you're moving your body, right? Right. So if you paint that picture of an healthy version of you, it can motivate you to get back to your 50 push-ups, right? If you are tired of people mocking you or wearing clothes and trying to hide your tummy, it will motivate you to do the push-up, right? And even go ahead to, maybe get supplements, start taking ginger and, all those fat burners and all. So if you paint the picture of the future you want to see and you understand that, this extra language can actually boost your chances of being able to communicate with people. For example, if you get the chance to travel to France, you will not have to be saying la crème, la whatever, and then they don't understand you and you don't understand them. You paint the picture of how it will be that every other person may be finding it difficult to communicate with a French person, but you will be able to easily communicate with the French person. When you paint that vision before you, it helps you to be consistent. But many times, because we've not painted that picture of what the outcome of consistency will be, then we tend to be inconsistent. So what I'm advising you to do now is that for everything that you want to do, for every goal you set, for everything that you set to do, make sure you have a picture of the vision of what it is that you want to achieve. Let that picture always be before you, because that is so important. And this leads me to the next thing, which is, why did you see your sponsoring conviction, your forging force, your reason for doings? In other words, because you now have a vision, you have a why. If people say, why are you doing what you are doing? You will have an answer. If a person comes to me and say, you and this your Duolingo app, you're always there from morning to night. Don't you have any other thing to do with your life? You will now be able to answer them confidently. and say, well, I actually have a vision of the outcome I want to achieve. I intend to travel to France, and I know that it will give me an edge when I travel there. I don't want to get to France and then I'm learning from scratch. Currently, my church, we have a church member who is currently in Spain. And the husband, I was asking the husband, how is your wife? Hope you are hearing from her. And I overheard him, talking about how some of our classmates were sent back to their country because they could not speak Spanish. So, but she had gotten ahead of the curve. She's now able to speak their language. And so because of that, she's not part of the people that they are sending back to their country. Now, see how that has paid her off. So there must always be a conviction behind what you're doing. I just told you about the fact that my non-profit has not paid me any money for the last 12 years that I've been doing it. Now, people will ask me why. Why are you still doing it? You get like, how can you be doing something for that long and it's not like there is profit in it? I have my why, I have my reasons, I have very strong convictions behind it, and time will not permit me to go into it because this session is not about me, it's about you guys. But I have my convictions for the things that I currently do. There is nothing that I do now that I don't that I'm not convinced about. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I know why I'm doing it and I can defend it, whether they understand it or not. And you see, you need to have a personal conviction because life happens. There are things that will come your way that want to discourage you. There'll be systems of the world that want to pull you down, but you just have to be convinced about it. When I was thanking Nick unmuted and he was talking about the fact that I'm a nursing mother. That is actually true. For many women, they shut down every other part of their life, but not me. Because I have a personal conviction. I made up my mind that when I get pregnant, pregnancy will not stop me from serving God and it's not stop me from serving humanity. In fact, many people did not know I was pregnant because I was still showing up. I was still doing my work. And it's not because I didn't have tough days. There were days. There were days that I was even crying, especially my first trimester because I lost a lot of weight. I was not retaining food as I should. I could only eat once a day. And then there were times that I would eat. I'm having a lot of heartburn and all of those things. I was dealing with those things privately, but I was still showing up. I was running the same non-profit. I was running my tech startup, and I was even still taking my course. I bagged 2 certifications while I was pregnant. Now that is consistency because I have convictions. There is something driving me. There is something I'm saying. I have a sponsoring conviction. I have a forging force. I have a reason for the things that I'm doing. Because I've heard stories of how people get pregnant, every other aspect of their life. I said, no, that is not going to be my reality. I was very determined. And it was not because there were those challenges. There were. And guess what? You won't believe it that 2 weeks postpartum, I went for a speaking engagement. Of course, looking at it now, I think I won't do it again. But I gave them conditions. I told them they have to come and pick me in my house and they have to come and drop me in my house, which they did. And the other thing was that the place I went for the speaking engagement is not far from my house. My husband was not happy. He was like, how can you go for a speaking? But that's aside, I'm just telling you my conviction. It just shows how much I'm willing to serve when I see the opportunity to serve. I'm not the person that likes to say that will say no to an opportunity to serve. No, I will always want to serve as long as it is within my capacity and ability. You will not find me saying no. And the last example I'll give on this, I'm the vice president. Okay, I think it was mentioned in the course of when they were reading my bio. So I noticed that my president would, there were some things he was not. I had to tell him that don't leave me out of anything. No. I want to be involved in everything. The fact that I'm pregnant should not stop me from serving because one of the things I told God is that pregnancy will not hinder me from serving God. And that is what I did. And even now that I'm postpartum, I'm resuming church by God's grace this end of this month because I've been telling my husband that I'm missing church, right? Because I know most people who want to stay for 3 months, but I want to resume now. I want to resume now. I'm tired of missing church physically because I join online. But I'm just saying all of this to say that you have to get to if you are not convinced, if your convictions about what you're doing is not strong enough, if you don't have a vision of an outcome that you see, challenges will come and you will fall for it because everybody will be challenged. It's not it's not that I'm saying something bad. Even Jesus himself said it, that in this life there will be many tribulations. So even those goals you're setting for yourself, things will come to challenge it. Every time you make up your mind that, okay, I want to pray more, I want to study more, I want to get a new certification, I want to learn a new course, I want to be more healthy, be doing more exercises, I want to go back to school. Different things will want to challenge you. Sometimes it can be financial, sometimes it can even be your family. Your family can be the weapon fashioned against you, not because they hate you, but because they want to keep you safe. So the things you should be doing that should be daring, your family might be the one telling you, this thing that you want to do, are you sure? Are you sure? But that may be what God wants you to do. Imagine if the father and mother of Moses were there when Moses was about to part the Red Sea. It looked like it was delusional. Like, how can you be standing in front of a sea that is as big as that, and you want the sea to part? The parents and the siblings, if they are there, they will quickly join that. Moses, are you all right? Are you sure your head is correct? What do you mean by you want this sea to part? Can we go on? Can we find another way? Just forget it. Don't even try it. That is what a normal parent will do because the parents are caring. They'll be like, don't allow the water to carry you. The wind of this water is powerful. Any small thing, if this water touch your leg too much, the water can carry you. You cannot swim. That is what parents will do. That is what family members will do. Family members want you to be safe. And if you're not careful, they will tell you things that will keep you safe for life. And because of that, you will not be able to do the things that God has assigned you to do. So if you are not convinced, if your convictions are not clear, even the people that love you can talk you out of purpose because they want you to be safe. And that is why you now need to know why you are doing what you are doing. It has to be strong enough. See, any area of your life where you are dragging your feet, it is because your convictions are not strong enough. So you now need to go back to do your own personal assignment. Why do I want to do this thing? Anything you want to do at all, always ask yourself, why? Why do I want to do this thing? There are some things that can never be a temptation to me because my convictions are so strong about it. I can never be tempted with Coke. I'm not tempted with sugar because I know the harm it does to the body. That knowledge is too strong in me. You can't tempt me with sweet things because I have so much knowledge. The vision is there. I know the kind of, how I want to look in another 50 years. I want to look forever young, and I'm already doing it from now. There are many things I will skip. Oily food, I've exed it. So many, many, many things. When I want to indulge myself, it is once in a while, and I know the things I indulge myself in. And when I indulge myself, I know what to do to get back in shape. Because I have a vision, I have my convictions. But there are some people, anything goes. Some people, maybe they're even on this call right now. Those that are addicted to cook. If you're addicted to cook, may God deliver you in Jesus' name. I say amen for you. So before you set out to do anything, make sure that your why is strong enough. Build conviction. Because if your conviction is not strong, when the wind comes, it will blow, it will fall. That is what makes you inconsistent. Because whether you like it or not, life will test you. And from what I can see that most of us are students or maybe fresh graduates. So you're still young at life, but I'm preparing your mind ahead now. Right? What Nick is doing for you guys now, you guys will not even know the impact and the value of this program until you go on in life and realize that things will test you, challenges will come. I'm not a prophet of doom. It's just the truth, because if we don't tell you the truth, then we don't love you. We don't love you, but this is actually the truth. There are things that will come to test your conviction in life. So beyond trying to do graphic design, beyond trying to learn a language, beyond trying to study the word and prayer time, there will be many other things in your life that the enemy wants to test. For example, when you get married, There are things I want to test it. Sometimes it can be in-laws, sometimes it can be money, sometimes it can be, a health challenge. Different things come. So, but when you are convinced that this is the person that you should get married to, or this is the person that God brought your way to get married to, when those things happen, it won't shake you. It won't shake you because you know what your convictions are. So because of time, I'll move on to the with whom do you see? In other words, who are your teachers? Because when you listen to a person, that person is painting a picture, that person is doing something to your mind. As I've been talking to you now, I'm sure that I'm doing something to your mind. I'm painting a picture in your mind. I'm triggering different aspects of your mind as I'm talking to you, as well as any other person you listen to and any other speaker that will be coming your way today, and even subsequently in your life. Anybody that is a teacher in your life is a person that is playing a role in how you see your coaches. So if you ever have a coach in your life, if you currently have a coach in your life, well done. And if you intend to have a coach later in your life, note that that person is going to play a major role in how you see. In how you see. Your vision prototype. Your vision prototype is a person that currently, like that person is currently living the life that you want to live. So let's say your goal is to become the most renowned medical doctor. I keep using medicine, just pardon me. Now, maybe there's somebody that you've identified that is currently renowned in the medical space. That is your vision prototype. That is a person that looks like the future you want to build. Now, if you're a smart person, you probably be following that person on social media. Every time you see a person that looks like the future you want to have, go and find them on social media, follow them, because there is something they know that you need. And like one of our matriarchs used to say, the secret of champions is in their story. And you can't tell me that a person is somebody you look up to, you really like and admire them, and you don't follow them on social media. What are you doing? Go and find them, follow them. So if you find out that there's a person that looks like the future you want to have, that is your vision prototype. Whatever they were seeing, whatever they were doing, whatever they know that got them where they are, you better get close to them so that you can see at least some. If they are doing a one-on-one program or whatever, amen. If you have to pay. If you can afford it, pay to join those circles. I know a particular lady, she went for Ibukun Awoshika. I don't know if you know Ibukun Awoshika, but if you don't know her, ask Google. There's this live series that they do with Ibukun Awoshika. She went. And beyond what she even learned from there, she was able to network and meet someone. And through that person, at her place of work, she was able to make a big deal for her company. They promoted her in her company. In fact, the company got her a car, so many things, just because, she went for that live series with Ibuka Oshika. And it was not a free event, it was paid for. So even if you have to pay, if you can afford it, pay. Whenever you find your vision prototype, a person that looks like the future you want to have, try to be close to them. If you cannot be close to them physically, at least be close to them online. Your propellers. There are people in your life that even when you just look at their lives, they just challenge you to greatness. At different aspects of my life, at different points and at different seasons of my life, I've had people like that their life just propels me. Like when I see the way they go, they do what they do, they are consistent as well, the kind of things they are doing, the excellence they put in, it influences me to want to continue doing what I'm doing. So there are people in your life that propel you the same way there are people that quench, your fire, and you need to understand who they are. You need to know who your propellers are. You need to know the ones that are always draining you. They are vision killers. Please avoid them, because everyone you allow in your space is influencing you, whether you like it or not. There are people that I have their contact, but I mute their status. Naturally, I'm not even a person that really goes through, I don't really go through people's status on WhatsApp. Many of the times I post my own and I'm off the platform. I'm not really a WhatsApp person. But a few times that my hand may go through people's status, if what you are posting on your status will not be useful in terms of If it will not be edifying, if it is not something that will help me in any way, if it is dirty and does not align with my values, I will block the person immediately. Yes, because I protect my space. I'm very, very intentional about the people that I follow. Even on social media, if you start posting anything that does not align with my value, I will unfollow. I will unfollow. And that's the truth, because the things you continue to see will play a long role in who you would eventually become. Let me say that again. The things you continue to see will play a long role in who you will eventually become. So whatever you keep building, you will become. So if you don't like what you are seeing, then stop seeing it. You are not a tree. It's only a tree that cannot move. You are not a tree. So if you don't like what the person is posting, unfollow the person. It's not, there's no hard feeling about it. And when you find out that the person looks like the future you want to have, go and look for them and follow. Follow them so that you can know what made them to get where they got to. Because everybody that is doing something great in life, they have secrets. There's something they call trade secrets. There are principles. Everybody, a truly successful person knows how they got there. In addition to God's grace, they know the things they did, when and with whom, and all of those things. And if you follow them very well, they will leave hints. They will drop one or two things that will give you an idea that, okay, this is what to do. Oh, this is the principle. Oh, this is that. So you need to ask yourself, with whom do you see? So who are your teachers? Who are your coaches? Who are your vision prototype? Your propellers? And then where you should apply it, which is the implementation of conviction through knowledge, effective forging and pausing. Now let me stay on this. Now, so when all of these things, you see that these things that I'm talking about, they work hand in hand. None of it is in isolation. Knowing who you are, having a sense of identity, what you see, in other words, the vision of the picture you paint before you, that will now inform your conviction. Why? It will give you a why. It will give you a conviction. It will give you a forging force, the reason why you want to do what you do. Then you have people that are guiding how you see, with whom you see. They are partners in the visions that God has told you. God will tell you, or you have an idea that is playing in your heart, and then you meet these people, and then they confirm that thing that is in your heart. You can see that this thing that looks like an impossibility in my life is already possible in another person's life. Okay, I can do this. You see, those are people that you are seeing with. Now, where you should apply it, this is now very, very important. Because it is not enough to say, oh, this is the vision I see, this is where I'm seeing it, and you're following all the most influential people online, and then you are not applying it. No. Don't be like that person that had a talent and went to bury it, because you will give account. So you need to be able to identify areas where you are meant to implement those convictions. So if you don't know how to do anything yet, go and look for a person that is already doing something and volunteer. So if you are listening to me right now and you don't have a sense of purpose, you don't have a sense of direction, one of the easiest way to even begin to find it is to volunteer with somebody that already has a sense of purpose. In the place of service, you will find what is yours and what is not yours. So that answers that. The next thing here is effective forging and effective pausing. Conviction will make you know what you should continue in and what you should stop. So it is possible that you started doing something, you're currently on a pathway in your life, but you might get to a point or a time when you would realize that that thing no longer aligns with where you're going or with what you should be doing. So for example, I said I have a non-profit, it's about 12 years old. That non-profit started when I was in my final year in the university. And it started with us going to school, doing school tours. I'll be talking to people, telling them they are the solution the world needs, trying to encourage them that you are not dumb, because many people, when you're in school, your teacher will tell you are foolish, you are stupid, you are dumb, olodo, you don't know anything. Just trying to get people to come to a point where they don't see themselves in those negative ways, right? I'm trying to help people have enabling beliefs, not disenabling beliefs. So we're doing that. Then later on, we incorporated entrepreneurship skills and all. But I'm currently not doing that again. I'm not going to schools any longer. but the vision still remains. We now have other forms of still making impact that does not require me having to go to secondary schools anymore. That is called effective forging or pausing. So the overall vision and the overall conviction and the people I'm seeing with, they're all there. However, you now need to know when to keep doing something and when to actually stop it, or when to reinvent yourself so that you can stay consistent. Because let me tell you one of the reasons why going to secondary schools had to stop. The first thing that even happened was that COVID came. Of course, that forced everybody to stay at home. I mean, even if I want to go to school, the schools are not, they're also at home because nobody was going to school due to COVID, isn't it? So the circumstances at that time will not allow that vision or that style of implementing that conviction to go on. So even if I'm adamant and say, no, I must go to a secondary school, I must go to a secondary school, and I go to the secondary school and there are no students, there are no teachers, their gate is not even open, I will not be able to exercise anything with them because the system for that is no longer in place. Or let me give a more general example. Let's say your vision is to be the best typewriter in the whole world. That vision can no longer come to pass because people don't need typewriters anymore. Nobody is using typewriter anymore. 30 years ago, that would be a great vision. But right now, wanting to be the best typewriter is not the right vision. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So where you should apply your conviction is very, very important. You need to know your effective forging and effective pausing. You need to know things that you should continue to do, you should continue to forge. And you must also know something that needs to change, that you need to stop or that you need to reinvent, even though you are still maintaining and keeping that vision. Then we have something called recalibrations. This is when you are able to look at things again, you know. It's just another word for reinventing yourself. Maybe step back, look at the vision, reevaluate things. Maybe now you've gotten more knowledge, you've gained more exposure. You might want to add new things to what you want to do. So, for example, let's use the person that was doing push-ups now. Your goal is to actually be more healthy, isn't it? Now, maybe before now, you thought the only way to achieve being healthy is to be doing exercises. But maybe you now stumbled on a page on social media, like where they talk about health stuff, and then they tell you that it's not only about doing exercise, you also need to watch what you eat. So if you're exercising, but you're eating the wrong thing, whatever effort you're putting in will be futile because everything has to work hand in hand. You have to be exercising and you also have to eat the right thing. Then you also have to rest appropriately. You need to do the right things. If possible, you may also want to include supplements. So maybe as you now follow this person on social media and they're posting health, whatever, you're learning more. And so you now go back to your vision and then you now be like, okay, even if I cannot do 50 push-ups, let me be doing 25. Then let me take out Coke. I'll not be drinking Coke again. I'll not be using sugar. I'll now start using honey or I'll be using dates powder, right? I will reduce the way I use palm oil. I will reduce the way I eat fried things. I will eat more organic food. By the time you combine all of these things together, you will get more results than trying to do 50 push-ups alone only. But as you keep gaining knowledge, you're now refining the things you are doing. That is called recalibration. You are recalibrating yourself, right? So the next thing here is monitoring and evaluation for optimization. So whatever you are doing, you need to ensure that you're evaluating yourself. And if you are a person that don't know how to tell yourself the truth, please find somebody that can tell you the truth. And that person must have your best interest at heart. Because some persons are actually enemies of progress, disguised as people that want to tell you the truth, right? You need to be able to discern, right? Make sure you discern people that really, really love you and can tell you the truth from a place of love, not because they want to, be an enemy of progress. Because some people will be telling you things, not because they love you, but because they are envious or they don't want you to go forward. No, stay away from people like that. So, but for monitoring and evaluation, right, for optimization, make sure you are the kind of person that can tell yourself the truth. Know when something is working and when it is not working. Know when you need to go back to school, you need to get help, you need to pay for a course, you need to seek advice, you need to intentionally befriend a person that you know that this person will be a great, benefit to your life, and be ready to also be a great benefit to theirs too. Because I see people that say, no, God, send me good friends, but they themselves, they are not ready to be good. God is not partial. Oh. If you want God to send you good friends, you also need to be ready to be a good friend, because that person that you are praying for is also praying for a good friend. And God will not shortchange that person just to answer your prayer. So if you are praying to have good friends in your life, you need to also make yourself a good friend. So you have to be a good person, because you will attract who you are, right? So that is just it. So for evaluation, for monitoring and evaluation, for optimization, if you are not the kind of a person that can tell yourself the truth, make sure you have someone in your life that can do that, right? So because of time, let's just move to the next slide. The next slide there, I'll just gloss through it quickly because I know we still need to ask questions and I need to attend to my baby. Okay, the next slide here is the power of consistency. And here I talked about the importance of knowledge, right? Knowledge is so important. Reading the right materials, despite the knowledge saturation in the world. It's not just about reading. You need to be reading the right things, because you might say you are reading, but what you are reading is actually misleading you more and more, right? It's confusing you more and more, because we are in the knowledge era. But if you are not systemic in the way you are acquiring knowledge, you might be more confused than informed. So make sure you build the right system around your seeking of knowledge, right? Research areas that you truly want to see answers. Don't be redundant, challenge yourself, always do your research, and honestly, many Gen Zs, and I hope they are not here, they don't do their research. You see some questions that some people will be asking that they can just go on Google and ask. Google is just a few typing away. There are some questions you should never ask. It doesn't make any sense because the answer is on Google. So just do your research. Always do your research. You see a job opportunity. Don't be asking the person that posted it about the job opportunity. You yourself, go on social media, go and check. Is this company real? Go on Google. Do they have a website? And if they don't, who is the founder? What have they done over the years? Are they on the news? Are they on any platform? Just always do your research. Don't take things at face value, because there are many things that are fake. But if you are not given to research, you'll be deceived. So always do your research no matter what. This will really help you to be consistent. So for example, when you have the right knowledge, you've done your research, you know that something is legitimate, you are more confident about it, right? But when you've not done your research, you are not confident about it. And when you're not confident, it will affect your ability to be consistent with a thing. So let's say, for example, now you are seeing a scholarship opportunity, but you are not sure, right? Do your research. Go on Google, click the links, check, do the research thoroughly. Who are the founders? How long have they been in existence? What have they done? Who are people that have graduated from it? Those are the things you do, and then it can help you to make a decision and go ahead to apply. So always do your research for anything, job opportunities, scholarship opportunities, whatever it is. An area is certification, always do your research. Then borrow vessels, seek other perspectives. Seek other perspective. Don't do things alone. Borrow vessels, right? If you're a Christian, I'm sure you understand what I mean by borrow vessels. This is coming from the story of the woman, that the widow of Zarephath, when Elijah went to her, he told her to borrow vessels. And when she brought in those vessels, the oil continued to flow until the vessels were exhausted. So as long as you have an open mind to keep learning, borrowing vessels mean learning from other people. Nobody knows it all. Nobody's an island of knowledge. One of the things you can commit yourself to is to learn every day. This same Ebuka Oshika I'm talking about now, she says she goes back to school every year, every single year. She gets a new certification. And I'm very impressed because personally, unconsciously, I didn't even make up my mind to do, but I found out that I was doing that every year. I get a new certification, at least one, but many times it's more than one. Every year, I bag a new certificate because I'm giving myself to knowledge. I'm borrowing vessels. I'm learning from what other people know, right? The next thing here is your network. You need to be intentional about the people you surround yourself with. There are some people you will have in your life that you cannot help but to be consistent. When you see the things they are doing, it will challenge you. You will be serious with your life by force because you'll be like, if this person can be doing this kind of a thing, I can do the same. So there are some people in your life that are your propellers. They challenge you. Surround yourself with people like that. That is so important. And the next slide here, spiritual intelligence. Please, I beg you, and I will say this thing. Everybody that is successful today is successful because they have an altar that is backing them up. There is no successful person that does not have an altar backing them up. You can quote me, but it is the truth. You may apply all these principles of knowledge, research, and whatever, but if you don't have a strong spiritual altar, you may not be able to go beyond a certain level of success. And if you are a believer, our spiritual intelligence is founded on our relationship with the Holy Spirit. Please, can you move to the next slide for them, please? And that is what we call spiritual intelligence, the Holy Spirit intelligence. And this can only be harnessed through prayer, intimacy with the Holy Spirit, study of the word. You need to be hungry for God's word. Go on retreats. Find time to stay away from everything. Stay away from social media for 1 day, for 1 week. I know people that fast from social media for 6 months because God instructed them to do so. And when they come back to share the things that come out of that, retreat, is always very fantastic and amazing. So go on retreats. Then have spiritual authority. Have a mentor. Have a mentor. I don't know if there is time, but I would like to explain that there is a difference between a mentor and a coach. If you say a person is your mentor, a mentor is not a sponsor. In other words, a mentor is not a person that you should be asking for money. Don't ever do that. A mentor is a person that has answers to the questions in your life, in your current situation. So there are people that you can go to ask questions, to seek advice from, and then they can now help you. Your coach is not a person that can hold your hand, guide you step by step. And most of the time, you have to pay for their services because coaching is time intensive.
Assistant worker can't.
Eh? What did you say? Somebody said something. Okay, maybe it was a mistake. So there's a difference between a coach and a mentor. Your mentor does not owe you anything. No. If a person is your mentor, they don't owe you anything. They are the ones helping you. So don't ever ask a mentor for money. They are not in the position to be financially responsible for you. If they want to give you money, it will be on their own accord. Because a lot of people have abused people they call mentors. No, a mentor is a person that you are the one that will seek them out. Your mentor should not be the one seeking you out. I've seen people that will be like, my mentor did not check on me. What? Your mentor is too busy. You are the one that should go after them because you are the one that need what they have. And then as God bless you in life, you cannot get a coach, which most of the time you have to pay for their service because they now need to pay more time to you. They are the ones that will check on you. In other words, they will hold your hand. Have you done this? Have you done that? They will teach you, but they will also handhold you because they are your coach. So that is the difference. Your coach is the one that can be holding your hands. Like, I don't mean holding physically. What I mean is that they are on your matter. They are on your case. If you told them that you have 7 goals for the year, they can be checking up on you to ensure that those 7 goals, you've achieved them. They will tell you the principles you need to apply to achieve those goals. They will take things deeper. They will take complex things and make them simpler for you to execute on them. That is a coach. So a coach is different from a mentor, please. So for spiritual authority, please seek mentorship, right? Seek mentorship, a person that you can easily ask questions, a person that can guide you. And sometimes just just listening to people, because for most people, many people have their materials online. If you go on YouTube, there's hardly any person's material that is currently not on YouTube. And if you would listen, many of the questions you have, they've answered them. They already have materials that are online and the answers are there. And like I said, that is why you must do your research. This boils down to that research thing, because if you've done your research, you know that this question you're even asking this person, the answer is already in a video or in a program or whatever that they've done at one point or the other, or maybe in their book. I think it was Pastor Kingsley that said if you ask him a question and he has written about it, he will tell you to go and buy his book. And that is just it. Because it will be redundant for them to have to be telling you all over again something they've done the work to put it in a book or to put it in a video format. You should go and look for it. So sometimes some people can be your mentors and you don't even have access to them physically. So for example, one of the persons I've listened to and I can say is a mentor to me is Apostle Joshua Selman. I've never met him before, but I listen to his message almost every day. There's hardly any week. If not, well, there are some days that I may not listen to him at all, but there are seasons where I'm listening to him every day. But there's hardly any week that I don't listen to Apostle Joshua Selman. And I've been listening to him that's the preacher I've listened to the longest. So there are people that you may not even know, but they can mentor you with their materials and resources online. So it's up to you to do the work, right? So our time has gone, but I think it's time for us to ask questions. Yeah, so I hope that with these few points of mine, you've been able to get even at least one thing that would help you to now be more consistent, in whatever you're doing, in your personal vision, in your purpose. Know that what I spoke about are more about things you can apply. I didn't streamline it to business, academics, purpose, or anything. But these are principles that if you listen to it and do your homework well, you can apply it across different aspects of your life. Yeah. Thank you. So who has a question? Time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you. Okay, I can see Oluwatobi's hand. Oluwatobi lover. You can unmute your mic and ask a question.
All right.
Let me stop
Thank
sharing.
you very much for this session. It was really insightful. All right, man. So my question is that does consistency mean daily? Like, okay, if I want to be consistent at a particular thing, doesn't mean daily. Doesn't mean if there's a gap in between or a day in between, doesn't mean it's no longer consistency.
So
And
it depends. So there are
yes,
some things
concern.
that, okay, you're not done. Please go on.
All right, yes, ma'am. Concerning intensity, most times I find myself that, or maybe if I've not done something for a while, I intend to want to okay, maybe the day I now decide to do it, I go with intensity. So what do you have to say concerning that as consistency and intensity too?
Okay, so two things. Now, there are different things that we apply consistency at. I mean, there are different areas of our lives where we need to be consistent. So, depending on what it is, some things will require daily consistency, while some things may not require daily consistency. Example, your relationship with God. Your relationship with God requires daily consistency because you are meant to study and pray every day. So it requires daily consistency. Now, let's say you are taking French classes, right? That does not require daily consistency. You can make up your mind that, okay, you will allocate a particular time of the day, a particular time of the week to that particular thing. So you can say every Wednesdays by 8 p.m., that is my time for French class. And you can be consistent with it that every Wednesday, once it's 8 p.m., whatever you are doing, you stop it and you go and take your French class. That is also consistency. So different things will require different forms of consistency. So some will require daily consistency, but most things does not require daily consistency. What you need to do is to schedule it, have a schedule, right? Including what you need to do daily and the ones you need to do every other day of the week. So for me now, I have a time of the day that is my prayer time. Once it is that time, I stop anything I'm doing, and that is time to pray. So even if I'm tired, exhausted, I keep that time with God. Last, I may doze off while praying, but at least I ensure to keep that time. So there are days that I may be able to spend time in God's presence for 3 hours. Sometimes it might be 2 hours. Sometimes it might be 1 hour. But I ensure to keep that time. That this particular, what is this time? Oh, every other thing shuts down, and I go and pray. That is me. And then there are other things that I've allocated different times of the day to do. For example, I oversee a particular team in my church. And every Thursday by 8:30, we pray. I already have an alarm that is set for that. So every Thursday, the alarm goes on and I join. So I don't get to miss that because I already have a system in place to ensure that I don't miss that. Now, that is just once in every week. So you now need to schedule the different things that you need to do so that you can be able to do them. And like I said, you need to ensure that your convictions are strong enough, because that is a major, major, major thing that will help you to be consistent. If your vision, if your why, which is your conviction, is not strong enough, you will falter. But when your convictions are strong enough, it helps you to stay consistent. Then you now put the systems in place. For example, one of the systems I've put in place is to have an alarm that rings for important things so that I know. So, for example, there are some people's birthday you don't want to miss. You set an alarm to remind you, right? So, that is that. Did I answer your question? Hope I answered your
Yeah,
question. Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you very much,
You're
Mrs.
welcome.
Joan. Okay, Lola Wolabi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, now thank you so much for the section. Like, I thought I knew more about consistency, but it is well. Okay, my question is that it all boils down to guilt. Like maybe probably when life hits you and you cannot really be consistent. Like you have to stop some certain things. For example, workout, like working out daily, yes. But at a point where you cannot really give that time in because you are very occupied. So should it mean that we should like me? I usually feel guilty about it. I feel guilty that oh my god, I'm not working out today, but it's not like sometimes my excuses are valid, but I still keep on feeling that guilt about it. And also boils down to my prayer life too. I feel like I know excuses should not be given to prayer life, but I just feel like oh my god, I've missed today's section. Then I'm not like, am I being consistent in this thing? Like, is this thing really going or? But at the end of the day, I usually calm myself down and just pick up from where I stop. But that guilt, how can we like really tackle that guilt? That's my question mark.
Okay, so don't tackle the guilt because the guilt is a good thing. Because if you don't feel guilty about it, you may most likely not want to do anything about it. So the guilt is your conscience working. So it is actually a good thing. The answer to your question is already in what I said, which is that you need to paint a picture of what you want to see, the results you want to achieve, and what you don't want to look like. So let me paint a picture to you with regards to, let's say, that prayer life, right? Now, our prayer life and our Bible study life is also like our physical life. You know, you eat every day. Imagine what it will look like if you don't eat every day. Like, will you be able to have strength and energy to do what you need to do? Okay, there's something I even used to tell people that if the last time you ate is the last time you studied the Bible, will you still be alive? So let's say you've not studied your Bible for 1 month. Imagine if it was that time was the last time you had eaten physical food. You can imagine how emaciated, exhausted, some people may have even died, right? That is how your spirit man is. And what that means is that you are vulnerable to the attack of the enemy. So a person that have not eaten for like 1 month, if one person just blow the person, just one slap or blow, the person might faint, pass out, or even die, because the person's physical state is already very weak. So you are vulnerable to anything. Any small sneeze, the person will catch catarrh because the immunity is low. The person might even die from it. That is how your spiritual life looks. That person is weak. You are vulnerable to the attack of the enemy, and the devil does not like us. So the devil hates human beings like nothing. So every time you are weak spiritually, you are vulnerable. Any small wind like this, the devil, you are easy meat for the devil. So when you paint that picture before you, there is a way to naturally propel you to pray. Then when you know that where you are going with God is far, you have a vision, you want to be a great person in your life, you will want to go back to God in prayer, because you know that the place of prayer is where you draw strength. Somebody like me now, every single thing that I've ever done, every idea I have, they come from the place of prayer, including this slide that I just presented now. Yes, I've exposed myself to knowledge, I'm educated, but every time I go to speak, I always pray about it and ask the Holy Spirit to teach me what to say and what to share. And it is with God that will draw the plan, design the slide, and do everything together, including what I shared today. I got them from the place of prayer. My tech startup that I'm currently running, that idea came after 40 days of fasting and prayer. 40 days, that idea came. So I am well aware that I cannot do without the presence of God. So I cannot even not pray, because I'll be cheating myself big time when I don't pray. I'll miss out on what God has prepared for me that day. So every time you don't pray, you are cheating yourself. It's like a person that has wealth. You are rich, but you are living in poverty. That is what it means when the person does not pray. So when you've painted that picture enough in your heart, it will drive you to the place of prayer. And then the next thing to do is to now create a system. So have a particular time of the day that you will allocate. Then make up your mind that nothing else will be done at that specific time. And then don't go and put it during the day. Because, for example, if you're a student, you may have lectures. And what that means is that you would have to go for lectures. So the best time to put it is either early in the morning or maybe late in the night. At least you cannot be having lectures in the night. Which lecturer will want to fix lectures? Or which employee or employer rather, we say you should come to work by 12 in the midnight? It's not possible now. Or will there be an employee that will say you should resume work by 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.? So let the time be at a time that nobody can interrupt. The system of this world cannot interrupt it. So fix that time and let that time be your prayer time, your Bible study time, prayer time. And then set realistic goals. So don't say you want to do 3 hours or 4 hours when you've never even done 1 hour before. If it is 30 minutes, you can start with 30 minutes and be consistent with that 30 minutes. Then grow. From that 30 minutes, you move to 1 hour. So don't try to want to use 6 hours at once. No, just start with something that is workable. Then you begin to grow. Because I can pray for 4 hours now, but there's a time I could not. There's a time I could only pray for 30 minutes. There's a time I could only pray for 1 hour. Once it is 1 hour, that is all. There's a time I didn't have a particular time of the day. But as I continue to grow, I knew that it's better to have a particular time of the day that is fixed. Even my husband knows. Once it is that time, he will not come and start disturbing me or anything, because he knows that this is my wife's prayer time. So there is a way you can have it established that even the people around you, they already know that, this time is for this in this person's life. And even though this principle is being applied to my prayer and Bible study life, it can be applied to every other aspect of your life. The things that you know that they are important, fix a time of the day that is what you will always do. And like I said, paint a picture of the benefits, the vision you see with regards to that thing and the impact it will have in your life and the impact it will have if you don't do it. So let the two vision, let it be plain. So if you know you want to be a great person in life, you know what you don't want to be like. Maybe you came from a family where nobody has been able to do certain things. Keep reminding yourself that I don't want to look like my parents. Maybe there are some things your parents have done and you're not proud of. Remind yourself, I don't want to be like my parents. Or maybe you have a sibling that did not do some things. Remind yourself, I don't want to be like this other person. I want to make a difference in my life. Keep painting that picture. I want to be the number one surgeon. I want to be the number one tech founder. I want to be the number one person that is doing GMP. All of those things, paint that picture in your heart so that your conviction can be strong. Because that is the conviction that will help you. So on those days that you are tired, even with that tiredness, you will still manage to show up and still do something. But when there is no conviction, you know, oh, I'm tired, oh, I'll just go and sleep, or you will leave the thing and go and be watching film. Or when the time you are gisting, you are playing, it's because you don't have a picture of the future you want. But when have you seen those people that are very serious in the class that keep collecting first position or taking first class? If you notice, when it is time for them to go and read, they don't stay around gisting with other people. They stand up and they go and read. Why? They've been carrying that first position. They want to maintain it. They don't want the shame of taking second position the next time. Yes. So they've painted a picture of always collecting that award, and so it will motivate them to keep going to read. So even when every other person is watching football, watching the latest drama, they are not there. Once it is time for them to leave, they leave. In fact, many of them don't even have time to be gisting or attending parties or because they have a vision, they have a conviction. So what you need to do, my dear sister, is to strengthen your conviction, strengthen the vision, and put the system in place. Allocate a time to those things and then keep playing the vision of who you want to become as a result of that prayer or as a result of those things you need to be more consistent in. If you want to graduate with the first class, keep painting that picture of the first class in your mind. If you want to be a particular goal or whatever, keep painting that picture. Keep painting it, keep replaying it in your mind. That will help your convictions to be strong and it will help you to stay consistent. Mm? I hope I've been able to drive home this point again.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
Thank you so
so
much, ma'am.
much, Ma.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. God bless you. So we have a question in the chat box
Okay.
from Ebenezer, thank God. So he said, hello, Ma. Thank you so much for this session. My question is, what if you are bad with daily routine, but consistent in other strong areas? What counsel will you give to someone who is struggling to merge passion and responsibility? He has to work to keep up financially. Also, he loves knowledge and growth, but the labor for survival is kind of taking much hold of him. His heart
Mm.
loves to, but the situations around him forces him to do otherwise, and he still wants to create time for learning, but lacks consistency in that area of growth. What is your counsel, Ma?
Okay. Ebenezer, thank you for this question. Now I can understand your question, right? So, but context applies. I will only be able to give you the best advice if I have context for what you're saying. But let me give an example. If the context you are referring to now is maybe your prayer life, right? Let's say because you work in Lagos, you have to wake up very early to be able to enter a bus, right? And then you go to work, then you come back home, and because it's been a very long day, you're exhausted, and maybe you literally have 2 or 3 hours to even sleep and then wake up very early again. And then you're feeling like you have not been praying, you have not been studying God. So this is what you can do. When you wake up in the morning, right? As you are dressing, be praying, be kabushing. If you are a person that maybe have to cook before you go to work, as you are cooking, be praying in tongues, be worshiping, be doing those things you are doing. And thank God we are in this era of technology. Play audio Bible. As you're dressing up, as you're bathing, as you're cooking, be playing it. When you enter the bus or the bike, whichever one is taking you, be playing the message, be playing the music, be playing the audio Bible, be speaking in tongues under your breath. This is how you can maintain a prayer altar every day. So even if you cannot say, oh, a specific time of the day, you are giving it to this thing because you are literally choked with work. This is how to ensure that you are doing it. This also applies to if you want to take a course. So if you are so busy that you don't really have time to sit down, on the go, be listening to the course as you are going to buy bread, as you are running errand, as you are entering taxi, as you are in that car, be playing the course, be playing the classes. That is how you'll be able to finish and earn your certifications and then be promoted at your place of work. So this is a way that, like I said I don't have context for what you're saying, but this is a way that even in a choked, when your activity is choked and you still have to manage work responsibility because of finances, this is a way to ensure that at least you are still in touch with God. So even if you cannot put a particular time of the day to do something, on the go, you can be listening. On the go, you can be praying. You can be playing audio Bible. So there is no excuse for that. We have so many. We have YouVersion. We have the blue. Let me check my phone. The blue letter Bible. Yeah, yeah. These are things you can be playing as you are walking, as you are in the bus. So that can help you to stay consistent. I think there was another thing you said. Yeah. Okay, to merge passion and responsibility. Yeah, so the truth is that passion may not pay you at the beginning. In fact, it is possible that passion will not even pay you at all. I know people that are very, very influential today, right? Like very, very influential. So the vision that God has given them, they are not making money from it. But God has also given them another work to do, that from that work, they're able to fund that vision. So it is possible to be doing a passion that does not earn you money. And that is why, even though you've known your passion, you also need to have wisdom for how you can earn money to be able to meet your financial needs. So many times in the beginning, the area where you are passionate may not start earning you money. And that's why we often advise people, even if you have a passion and you have a vision and it's not earning you, don't quit your job to be following passion, unless it's a straight instruction from God in the place of prayer, which I would advise you to consult mentors on. But at the end of the day, it's still up to the kind of relationship you have with God. If you're a person that hears God clearly, and to say you hear God clearly, that means you have a strong relationship with God. You can't tell me you hear God clearly when you only pray once in a month. That's probably not true. You are not hearing God. It's a person that walks consistently with God that will easily hear God, right? So unless you have a clear instruction from God to quit your job and follow passion, if you don't hear God clearly, please find a way and trust God for wisdom to be able to run both together. And like I said, I'll need to know your context to be able to give specific answers. But because I don't know the exact context, I may not be able to give a specific answer. I'm just giving a more general answer right now. So what you need to do is to find a way to balance it. So if you want to run your passion, that is a good thing. But you need money. You need to eat. You probably need to pay your rent. So don't allow anybody to make you do something you regret. There is nothing wrong with doing your passion and also having a job or a business to ensure that there's cash flow in your life, unless you are sure that God wants you to quit your job or quit your business and face the passion full on, because there are people that God can give that kind of instruction. But when God gives you that kind of instruction, God will back you up. God will always find a way to fund it. God is a responsible father. He does not leave his children stranded, right? So it might be challenging. It might be a cashless flow. In other words, you might not be getting much cash, but somehow, some way, your needs are met. That means God is in it. So God can actually give such instruction, but it is not all the time. So that's why you need to pray well and seek mentorship to be sure that that is what it is.
Thank you, Ma.
Okay.
We have one more question, and this is going to be the last question for tonight because we know
Okay.
you are a nursing mom and we don't want to keep you waiting.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is from Oshutayo Mary. She's
Okay.
asking, sometimes I set a specific time for something, but I don't always meet up with that
Mm.
exact time. If I still go ahead to do it later, can that still be considered as consistency?
Yes, it is consistency, but it is not sustainable. So that is consistency because you're able to go back to it. However, it is still better to be able to keep to the time that you've set. So if you've been able to set a particular time that you've allocated to do that thing, still try to do it at that time. That helps you to have a routine. However, if you're unable to meet up, it's actually a good thing that you're able to go back to do it. It is still consistency. And somehow, some way, it all happens to all of us where you're unable to meet up with something you plan to do at a particular time, but you're able to catch up with it. So that happens to all of us. So it's actually still consistency. However, don't let it be an habit. Still try as much as possible to maintain your routine. That time that you've allocated to do something, try to do it at that time. But if for whatever reason you're unable to, just like you rightly did, find a way to go back and still get it done. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
My baby, Anuela. Her
Somebody
name is Anuela.
tempted.
Her name is
Oh,
Anuela.
Anuela.
Yes.
Why do I feel like you combined your name and your husband's name together, even though I'm trying to remember your
So
husband's
it was
name?
just my name we combined
Okay.
and
Okay.
Emanuela. So we combined both. So we wanted our child to
I
have a very
know.
unique name.
Okay. And it is
Yes.
so unique. This is the first time I'm hearing it. I'm sure she's the only one that bears that name right
He's
now.
the only one. He's the only one because we
Yes.
formed the name. If you want to use
Yes.
the name, you have to come and take permission from
They will pay. They have to
Yes.
pay. We will collect money
Yes.
from them.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. We are really grateful to have you here. We are
Thank
honored.
you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. And we
Can
hope
I
that
say
God
one
will
or two
honor you.
things?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
sir.
All right, John, thank you so much for tonight. I mean, I'm taking notes. Like I've been taking notes, and I know it is full. This is wisdom, and we appreciate the passion and the depth from which you speak from tonight. And guys,
Oh,
if you have been listening very well, you will notice that there is a lot of truth or similarity between what she's saying and what Shemeze told us last week. Because truth is
mm.
parallel, principles are the same, right? Thank you so much for this. You are so
Thank you.
I do
Thank
not
you for
personally take
having
it for granted. And guys, in case you don't know, we've been friends for years, more than 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
me. Yes, we've come way back from campus.
Yeah. Thank you so
Hello?
Okay, thank you. I think Mr. Nick is, I don't know, and there is
The network.
a
Yeah.
background noise or something. Yeah, so
Okay.
thank you so much, Ma. We are really grateful once again. We cannot thank you enough. Thank you for coming to GMP every year.
Wait,
God
why
bless
does
you,
this
Ma.
voice sound like Ajoke's voice? Is that Ajoke?
Because she is a joker.
Ah, Ajoke, so that's you. Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, nice to have you.
Usually.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. And I've
sis. Thank
missed
you.
you. Don't worry, I'll
Yeah,
come to your
me too.
DM
Oh yeah,
maybe
now.
tomorrow. Tomorrow, let me
Okay.
not disturb you tonight.
Okay, okay. Thank
All
you.
right. All right, guys. Thank you for joining and staying till this time. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.